How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and that's right, it's time for more Pokemon trading card game stuff. My friends over at Pokemon were kind enough to send me a bunch of stuff from the upcoming set, Pokemon Sword and Shield Rebel Clash. So, as you see here, there are 2 theme decks this time, but they also sent along the Elite Trainer Box. This is a pretty nice accessory to have for powering up your decks. Now this whole kind of package you see here, this is a decent way if you're a newer player to get into the game, because each of these theme decks, which I believe the usual MSRP is $12.99 US, I would assume that's what they'll go for, but they come with 60 cards in them, and they're ready to go. So you can basically just take it right out of this theme deck, shuffle it up, or right out of the box, shuffle it up, hopefully put some sleeves on it, and then battle with a friend. Now, these aren't going to win tournaments, most likely. I mean, you know, they're very basic, but they're a decent way to get started at least. So if you're new to the game, you want something that will, you know, just let you have some fun, it's a good idea to get some of these to play against friends to get started. But eventually you're going to want to power up your theme deck, or you're going to want to make even better decks. Well, a good bridge for that would be this Elite Trainer Box. So this thing, it's a pretty nice set. I've had a few of these in the past. It is a little bit on the pricey side, I'll just warn you. However, you do get a pretty good amount of value for it. So this, I believe, has an MSRP of $39.99 US. However, if you look at the contents of this, here's it written out, you do get 8 booster packs for that. So, you know, that's a pretty sizable amount of booster packs. That alone makes them about, what, $5 each? So you then think of the other things you get in with it to kind of balance it out. Like, you do get 65 card sleeves. You do get a, let's see, a player's guide, some energy cards. You get dice. You get a coin flip die. You get a little collector's box. You do get quite a lot with it, so that's kind of nice. I guess between the dice, the card sleeves, the energy, and the 8 packs, that's what you need to think of if you think it makes it a $40 value. But what I like about this is a really great way for newer players to get basically everything they need to kind of get going. So you have all the energy cards that you'll need, which are important. You'll have sleeves for your deck, which is good. And you'll also have 8 booster packs, plus a really cool kind of box thing. In fact, actually, I have one from that they sent me previously of Cosmic Eclipse, and it is pretty cool. Like, this has some cards in it already, and it's a really nice place to just store some stuff, you know, and there's little separators. I haven't put anything in the sleeves yet for it, but yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more compact than the box you see in front of you right here. Like, it does shrink down a lot, so it's actually a nice place to store some extra cards. All right, so let's get started with this. Again, just a reminder, this is not really geared for the professional players by any means. This is, they're theme decks. They're starting points for you. They're ways to get into the game. So we're going to kind of take a look at the 2 decks so you can see what they're all about. So there's the Zacian theme deck and the Zamazenta theme deck. Now, interestingly, both they're metal theme decks. Like, usually for any Pokemon trading card game theme deck, they'll have like different types. Like, this has been very constant throughout the how many sets? 80? I feel like there's been just so many card sets throughout history. But yeah, this time they're both metal, so you shouldn't have to worry about one being stronger than the other as far as like a type advantage, because if you're playing with friends, if you pick the deck that's stronger just based on type than theirs, that's not a fair fight now, is it? So this seems like it'd be a kind of fitting, demonstration of Rebel Clash, the 2 fighting each other. So yeah, anyway, here's a closer look at the 2. Hopefully you can read this A-okay. So the Zacian one has 2 Zacian, 2 Unpheasant, 3 Tranquil, Pidove, Galarian Berserker, Probopass, Hawlucha, Dan, Pokemon catchers in here. Now, I don't know what a lot of these cards do. I haven't really opened any packs of the set just yet, so we're going to kind of take a look at stuff together. and hopefully that'll be enjoyable, and I'll kind of give my perspective on it. So the Zamazenta one has Zamazenta, of course, as well as Corviknight, Bisharp, Ferrothorn, and Duraludon. Interesting. So looks like there's not really any type advantage between the two, and it looks like they both have roughly the same kind of caliber of trainers. In fact, let's see, one has Potion, one has, I don't know, they both have 4 Hop. I'm like trying to look at the differences between the two just through my little viewfinder on my TV. But yeah, anyway, I would say either's fine. We'll have to see what the Zacian, the Corviknight, the Zamazenta, the Unfezant, what they do. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to put the Elite Trainer box away. Again, this is a nice, I'll have it off to the side there. That's a nice way to upgrade your strength for any theme deck you get, because you'll want to get booster packs in order to power them up. All right, so let's start with Zacian here. Now, I always struggle with opening these things. A few of you have told me that it's a little easier if you open it from the top. So I do see that there are some kind of like tear lines here. I did try it with one of my old ones, so maybe, just maybe, this will go a little bit better. We'll see, because I feel like I always just tear them apart. There, look at that. That's not so bad. I wish they'd make it a little bit more clear, but this is so much better than like tearing apart the side like I always do. I'm really sorry about that. Oh, I should read the back of this too. They always have some flavor text here. So, Zacian brings an edge to your game. Sharp and quick, the legendary Pokemon Zacian leads its mighty companions to victory. With Unfezant holding the skies and Professor's research keeping your options open, you have a full range of paths to reach the top. Galarian, Berserker, and Hawlucha lend their courage as you wield the Zacian theme deck with Valor. Alright, that sounds pretty exciting. So, here are the contents. Whoops, that thing's gone. Here are the contents of the theme deck. You do get the pre-constructed deck. You do get a special holofoil version. You only get one, but you do get a special holofoil version of one of the cards in there. In this case, Zacian. You get the coin. You get some very basic damage counters that you can use. And you do get a code for the trading card game online. You also get a play mat, which is kind of nice if you're newer to that. There's some quick start rules here, which if you're unfamiliar with the game, this video probably won't tell you how to play, but it will tell you how you can find a quick start rule guidebook that will explain how to play. So yeah, definitely check that out. I'll check it out in a moment here. This is, I think it's like a checklist. This is really handy. This was in the last one, and it's just a nice little card you can have. Like, there's some reference cards for like, hey, what can I do each turn? You know, what's going on? Because, you know, if you're new, it can be kind of overwhelming. Here's a look at the coin. Let's actually flip it this time. If I can do this with my left hand. Hey, it's tails. That's not a good sign. Bad dog, why do you do that? Sorry to anyone whose dog was listening in the background. All right, and there is a trading card game online code, which will unlock the theme deck. So, flip that over. Yeah, that's right here. It has a code that you can use. I'm going to keep mine personally, but yeah, that's a nice way to have that on the online. You get the whole deck, I do so believe, which is kind of cool. So there's the Zacian there, and you get this little deck box. This won't hold a deck with sleeves in it, but it does at least, you know, carry your unsleeved deck. So that's kind of nice, I guess. Throw that off to the side. They do look really cool. Okay, so let's take a look at this thing. Well, first and foremost, let's take a look at the star of the show, Zacian here. So basic Pokemon, that's always nice because you don't have to invest any like evolutionary stages on it. You can just set it down and let it do its business. So, like, that's pretty handy. It's good to have good, strong, basic Pokemon. So this thing has 120 HP. It's a Steel type. It has Energy Stream. Attach a Metal Energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. It's not like the greatest because it takes 2 energy to use, but, you know, it can work all right. And then Smashing Edge for 120. Flip a coin. If tails, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. So that's a little harsh. but at least you should have a way to get it back, because you could just attach an energy card next turn. You know what, before I go on to this, let's just take a quick look at some of these things, because they are also part of the theme deck. They're, you know, just nice to have. I showed them off in the last theme deck video for Sword and Shield. Just the base Sword and Shield set, which had a Cinderace, a Rillaboom, and an Inteleon theme deck. And you know, I had a chance to play around with some of those decks, and like against the other decks, like those decks, so it was fun. I think my favorite was actually the Rillaboom. That thing's so strong. It's just so strong. So yeah, this tells you about the different status conditions. It tells you what you can do during your turn. Confused. There's some stuff on the back that tells you about this. This is really good to have in your pocket if you're new to the game, because then you'll kind of hopefully have an idea of what is going on or what you can do. So this right here is the, let's see, kind of a strategy session, if you will. So Sharp Tactics. So your goal here is to bring Zacian and Unpheasant into play at full power as soon as possible. They are your star Pokemon. With a keen edge and big attacks, Zacian is ready to cut through the competition, slash, parry, and strike for the win. Speed of Metal. Normally you're limited to attaching just one energy card per turn. Metal Saucer gives you a boost, allowing you to attach a metal energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench metal Pokemon, and Zacian's Energy Stream attack has a similar effect to power itself up. So yeah, I guess you could use that one attack that discards energy to put it into the discard pile, so you can use Speed of Metal. One strike for the KO. Unpheasant is your heavy hitter. It has 150 HP, and the big Air Slash attack that does 150 damage. It's enough to take down a lot of Pokemon in a single attack. Plan B at the ready. Probopass, Galarian, Berserker, and Hawlucha can serve as valuable backup options when the time is right. Keep an eye out for when they might be useful. And then Catcher sows sows some chaos. There's a word. A bunch of words. While trainer cards are important for any deck success, this deck tends to be a little more aggressive. Lean into that direction and use Pokemon Catcher to go after an opponent's bench Pokemon before it's ready to attack you. Yeah, so that sounds pretty good. And then on the back here, you'll find a lovely checklist, which is pretty big set from the looks of things. 192 cards in the main set. I think there might still be some secret rares yet, but yeah, it's always nice to have these checklists. And then there's a playmat here. I'm not going to unfold it, but it is, well, actually, it might look pretty cool. Hold on. They do oftentimes have some really cool art. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's like stuck on something in here. There we go. Oh, this looks actually really cool. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's really nice. And then on the other side, oh, look at that. You can even have just like a poster if you don't want to use it as a theme deck. That's actually really cool. I like that. That's actually really neat. What a good idea. Okay, anyway, let's take a look at some of the other cards in here. So this is a little cumbersome looking through a deck like this. Usually I'm used to opening up, you know, booster packs. Actually, I think I figured it was a little bit easier. We go like this, I think. I don't know. So P-Dove, it has Chirp. Search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon with fighting resistance. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Oh, into your hand. That's actually interesting. That's a good way to get Unpheasant out, because they don't have to go right onto your bench. So you could theoretically get all of its evolution lines. Yeah, here's that Unpheasant. This is one of the stars of the show here. Yeah, look at that Air Slash. Wow, that's really decent. So 150 health, Daunt. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks do 50 less damage. So that's kind of nice to be on the defensive. Maybe if you can't quite get the KO with Air Slash, you can use Daunt for the finishing blow. And then, well, actually, I guess that wouldn't work because it says the defending Pokemon's attacks. So if you knock something out, that wouldn't apply because it's only on that Pokemon, but it's still kind of useful. And yeah, Air Slash. Now, colorless means it can use any energy type, so that's pretty decent. There's Tranquil. Doesn't really look like there's anything to write home about there. Pretty straightforward. Here's that Probopass. So what's this thing all about? 140 HP on a stage 1, not too bad. Gravitational drop. This attack does 30 more damage for each colorless energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. That would do a lot of damage for one against this Probopass. That'd be an extra 120. Or you could just do heavy impact for 120. Not like fantastic, but maybe against like slower Pokemon that take a lot to retreat. Maybe that would be pretty effective against them. Galarian Meowth, Hone Claws. During your next turn, this Pokemon's slash attack does 60 more damage. Ooh, that'd be pretty wild to start with, huh? So here's Hop, very basic supporter card. Again, you can only play one supporter card each turn. They're usually a little bit more powerful than your normal like item cards and stuff. This just lets you draw 3 cards. Pretty handy. Not like extremely good, but you know, it's good to draw cards. Sonia! Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or up to 2 basic energy cards. Reveal them and put them into your hand. So I guess you could get whichever of those things you need. Sounds like you have to pick between the 2. I don't think you can go with any combination. Metal Saucer. Attach a metal energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. That's pretty nice, actually. Now, I know I say metal energy. I know it's steel type, but keep in mind it's a little different in the trading card game when that type was first introduced a long time ago, back in the original Neo Genesis set. There was just a special energy card that was called Metal Energy. So that's kind of been, like, I think now that it's a basic energy, it's kind of changed, but just, I know a lot of you may wonder, like, wait a second, Marriland, why are you saying Metal Energy? Why are you saying Metal Energy? What's up with that? Yeah. Anyway, Poke-Kid, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So it's nice that you can get anything you want with that, but the downside is that does use up your supporter for the turn. Now, who the heck? Oh, I was wondering who Dan was. I remember, yeah, I guess he does introduce himself. What? Oh, this is neat. Draw 2 cards. You and your opponent play rock, paper, scissors until someone wins. If you win, draw 2 more cards. Oh, that's kind of cool. So your opponent doesn't get anything if you end up winning. Huh. Or if you end up losing if they win. There was an old card that let you do that. I think, what was it? Misty's Duel? Misty something. Great Ball. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon you find there and put it into your hand. Again, that's very useful for kind of searching through some cards in your deck to try to get everything you need going. This is pretty nice to start with. Hawlucha. So Windfall, shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. So it's both good and bad. It's good to start with because hopefully it'll kind of shuffle through your deck, get you the things that you need, but you don't necessarily know what you're getting out of it, and you're not doing damage. But it does have speed attack, 1 for 30, so definitely a support Pokemon, but you know, it's alright. Nothing really to write home about with that nose pass. It does things, it evolves. That's what you need. Galarian Berserker. Yes, this is its Galarian form. It makes you wonder what the normal form is, huh? I think that's just because there's probably going to be things that let you search for any like Galarian Pokemon. So Slash 2 for 50, and then Claw Dagger does 80 damage times the number of heads. You flip 3 coins with that, so that could do either a lot of damage or it could do nothing if you're really unlucky. So definitely a gamble there. Got to be careful with that. So here's another good card to have. Professor's Research. Discard your card and draw 7 cards. I know it can be harsh, discarding a lot of cards from your hand, but oftentimes that's the way to really move things along. To get through your deck quicker, to get the things you need. It is more of an aggressive play, but you will find that to be really important. Pokemon Catcher. This is a very powerful card. Flip a coin. If heads, switch your opponent's bench Pokemon, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. So you do get to choose in that case. You have to win the coin flip for it, but you can get something that they are preparing, or perhaps lock something with a high retreat cost, so then you have a chance to set up. So switch, you basically get to switch one of your active with one of your bench Pokemon. That's how it goes. I think that's everything in here, right? I think we're pretty much good. Yeah, looks like it. Saw the Unpheasant before. Yeah, so there's the Zacian deck. It definitely looks like it's heavier on offense. I do think that Unpheasant is definitely pretty good. Like that thing is pretty solid. But even Zacian itself looks like it can do some damage if that thing gets rolling. So how is its rival, if you will, Zamazenta, how does it fare? So again, here's a look at its deck list. We kind of talked about that a moment ago, but let's read what the flavor text says. Strong as any shield, the legendary Pokemon Zamazenta and a group of Pokemon warriors are ready to battle. Duraludon gets you powered up quickly, and Professor's research ensures your hand stays full of options. Corviknight and Ferrothorn add steely determination as you keep Zamazenta's theme deck focused and on target. Huh. So a lot of the trainer cards in there, you know, that encompasses both the items and the supporters. It looks like they're more or less the same. There's 2 potions in there. I don't know, there's probably something else that's different, but yeah. So let's go ahead and open this up. Again, I'll try this method out again. It seems like it works other than this, but still way less damage. You could probably use some scissors. I actually brought some scissors just in case, but I figured I'd see if I even needed them. Okay, so the good news is we've seen like a lot of the cards in this already, so hopefully this one will go a little bit quicker. But let's take a look at the Zamazenta here. So this has Guard Press, 2 for 30. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks. So that actually, in that situation where if this is the knockout blow, that actually would still protect Zamazenta. So that's pretty nice. And then Power Rush, 3 for 120. Flip a coin. If tails during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. So that's rather unfortunate if you get tails. It's definitely a risk there. Usually I don't like risky moves like that, but I guess theoretically you could use a switch. Remember, if a Pokemon that has an effect on it, like, well, it's something other than well, actually, I think it does even get rid of status conditions. What am I talking about? Like, if there's an effect or a status condition, or special condition as they're called in this, then if it goes to the bench, it goes away. So you could use something like a Switch to, not a Nintendo Switch, you could use something like that to reset that like restriction where it can't attack. So that's pretty handy. Here's the instructions for the deck. Here's also another one of these. Here's the deck itself. Coin. I'll give it a flip in a moment, don't worry. We have the code, which I'll keep over here. And, of course, the cool foily version. And the actual deck. Let's open this thing up. Gotta say, the decks do look pretty cool. Like, just the boxes for them. In fact, let me put them on screen here. Yeah, there we go. Kind of decorating, right? All right, so what does it have to say about the Zamazenta theme deck? Again, this is another one of those checklists, but the instructions for the deck will obviously be different because this is a different deck. So yeah, Speed of Metal, we kind of already talked about that. That's with the Metal Saucer. Knightly Champion. Corviknight is your heavy hitter. It has 170 HP and the Iron Wings attack, which does 130 damage. You can see a big hit incoming from your opponent. You can choose to discard 2 energy from it when you attack, so Corviknight takes 100 less damage from your attacks during your opponent's next turn. And then Zamazenta's Guard Press attack has a similar protective effect with no discard. That's pretty cool. Call out the backup. Bisharp, Ferrothorn, and Duraludon all provide valuable backup options when the time is right. Keep an eye out for when they might be most useful. And a Healing Hand. Trainer cards are important for any deck success, and this deck tends to be on the defensive side. Try to use Potion to keep your Pokemon battling longer. Yeah, so it looks like, even though it does sound more defensive, it does sound like it also has some pretty good offense. I want to see that Corviknight. Sounds like it can do a lot of damage. Alright, so I think we'll kind of take a look through this deck here. So here's Corvisquire, not really that exciting. Discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. Probably very situational. But, you know, there's Ferocity there. Pretty darn basic. Rookity, also quite basic. It doesn't have the nice support that P-Dove had, where you can search basically for any of the Pokemon that have the resistance to fighting, which I guess in that deck would only be the, well, like the Unpheasant line, but you could add other things to it if you really wanted. Alright, so here's Ferrothorn here. Let's see what this thing's all about. Triple Smash, flip 3 coins, does 30 damage for each head, so kind of similar to that other one from the Zacian deck, although only 1 energy, and it costs a lot less, but it does a lot less too. Energy Slap, you may move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, so that's a pretty bold move. I guess if you have a switch in your hand, you could use that on the next turn, and then you can get Ferrothorn out of there, but I don't know. If you don't have that, it's gonna put you in a pretty bad spot. So we have Hop there, we have this Poniard. Not really all that exciting. There's Duraludon. Let's see what this thing does. Pretty curious about that. So basic Pokemon with 130 HP, pretty good. Metal Sharpener, attach a metal energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. Holy smokes. So that's actually really good. Contrast that with the Zacian here, that for 1 more metal energy, so it takes a metal and a colorless, you do get the same effect, but only on this Pokemon, whereas Duraludon can actually be on any of your Pokemon, including anything on the bench. So that's a really good card. That's really good. And Power Beam is also quite good. I hate to say it, but honestly, Duraludon, I'd say it's basically better than Zacian overall. Huh. It's kind of weird, actually. Duraludon's really good. Yeah, that's a great way to, like, power up some of your other Pokemon. Alright, so here's Bisharp. There's a few other cards in here that we already have looked at, so I'll skip over those. But Charge Order does 30 more damage for each of your benched Pokemon. Wait, what? You can have up to 5 benched Pokemon. That is a lot of damage for 1 energy. And the Slicing Blade, just in case you don't have more than 1. That thing is also really good. That is really good. So there's that switch I was telling you about. I think we already saw that. It's pretty nice. Here's a potion. Deal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. Kind of handy. Another Dan. There's the Ferrothorn again. There's the Corviknight. Wow, we still haven't seen this thing. Corviknight, 170 HP. Very nice. Peck for 50 for 1, so that's pretty good. Iron Wings, you may discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. If you do, during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks. Wow, that's also very strong, because then there's not much they can do. I mean, it's a heavy cost, discarding 2 energy, but you can also then get it back with Duraludon. Oh man, I mean, you'd have to like switch out and attack with it, but still, like, there are ways. You can use the Metal Saucer to also put those energy on bench Pokemon. I think that's everything in here, right? Yeah, I think so. Wow. Okay, so my impressions... My impressions, like, if I had to pick between these two, I'm really sorry, Zacian. I think I like the look of Zacian better. And I know it's better in the video game, but honestly, I feel like the Zamazenta theme deck, it's so strong. Like, wow, the Bisharp is ridiculously powerful. Duraludon just seems like a better Zacian, which is kind of crazy, really. Yeah, so... I mean, I think they're both alright. Again, these aren't like, you know, World Championship winning decks. If you brought them to a tournament, you're probably not going to win, but they're really good to get started in the game. You have everything you need to just play against a friend. Like, it's great if you have 2 theme decks fighting against each other, just because then it's more of an even playing field. So, yeah, that's definitely really interesting to see these two. I think that if I had to pick, you know, I can definitely be unbiased here. You know, I would have to say that the Zamazenta deck is clearly superior, but it seemed like the Zacian had some stuff going for it. I feel like there's a lot more going. But again, the nice thing is, both decks, they don't have anything that really, like, counters each other. So if you just want some decks to play against some friends with, I feel like these two do a pretty good job at keeping, well, mostly balanced. I have a feeling the Zamazenta one will be a little stronger, though. But, you know, maybe the Zacian one can, I don't know, get going faster. The thing that's nice about the Zacian one, as opposed to Zamazenta, is actually the Pidove here, believe it or not. That Chirp, that helps you get your entire evolution line right away. Like, you can get up to Unpheasant. You're basically guaranteed that turn 3 if you start with Pidove. So that's really handy. Whereas, like, with the Zamazenta deck, you don't have anything like that. So anyway, that's a look at the 2 theme decks. Next time, we're going to open up the Elite Trainer box to see what I can get that would improve these decks just from the 8 packs within there. And on the horizons, again, my friends at Pokemon sent me a booster box of Rebel Clash, which, yeah, that's going to be really exciting to check out. So anyway, thank you again so much, Pokemon, for hooking me up with this. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you next time, everyone.